sage, lemon balm, and thyme leaves, and piperine from black pepper. It will help you take control of your body and feel the power of turmeric like never.
Infowars.com is tomorrow's news today.
Welcome everyone. Sorry, I was doing my Alex Jones impression. Unfortunately, Alex Jones is not going to be here tonight, but I'm here, Rob Doof, going to kick off our coverage that we're going to do for the next, I guess, 27 days or so, skipping some of the weekends. But this is part of our banned midterm coverage because we are the banned media. So, like I said, we have 27 days until probably the most important midterms in my lifetime and probably your lifetime. We saw right after Obama got elected, we saw the Tea Party kind of birth itself and really kick into high gear, which was sort of a offshoot of the conservative libertarian movement that really got its legs under Ron Paul. And so we saw that midterm really be important because it established a foothold for Republicans to grab the House. And, you know, I'm not a Republican. I did register to vote as a Republican, mainly for Ron Paul because I was always voting libertarian. And I saw that vote kind of being thrown away. But what I've seen from the Democrats in the last 4 years or so has really made me think, one, I think we definitely need to get rid of this two-party system. We need more voices out there. I look at Brazil's elections and how they have, hey, if you win 50%, you take it. If not, we're going to go to round 2, round 3, round 4. And so it really will, it will weed out the crappy candidates and promote those who are really going to be good for this country, like I really think Donald Trump is doing. Now, I spent the last hour watching the Donald Trump rally at Erie, PA, which was there tonight, and we're going to bring on Millie Weaver to talk about it. And this is going to be a little bit different than we normally do. We will have commercial breaks, but just for everybody out there watching, they'll only be at the top and bottom of the hour. That's 30 after and approaching the top of the hour. So it will be longer segments. We'll have 2 big segments each hour. And we'll wind this up around 10. I think we'll wind it up with Alex's video that he did talking about Hillary Clinton and her going to run for president in 2020. It's something people have talked about, people speculated about, but now we're going to, I think, see this coming up in, he predicts in about a year. So it looks like late 2019, she's going to announce she's going to run. And but she's already doing things behind the scenes. That's the word he's getting from his sources. So we have that video on InfoWars right now. It's exclusive. Hillary Clinton to run for president in 2020. You can go watch that video or spread that video around, and let's start the conversation so we can negate this when she does put her foot into the race. But are we ready with Millie? Is Millie Weaver ready?
But no cursing.
All right. So I just heard her pop into my ear. So I think she's ready. She's actually on site in Erie, PA. We have Millie Weaver on location. Millie, what was it like there in Erie this evening?
Well, there was a lot of people out here in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I'll just say I'm here with Caitlin Bennett, the gun rights girl out of Kent State. And essentially, there was a good bit of protesters out here, anti-Trump protesters. They did get a little bit rowdy, but overall, it was a peaceful event. We had a big turnout for this area. This was one of the areas that actually helped turn Pennsylvania red for Trump. So this area is one of the areas that is a switch area. That's probably why Trump has chosen this area. But I wanted to have Caitlin tell a little bit of what happened here, if that's okay with her and some of these protesters, because some of them actually, you know, gave her a hard time and threatened her. So Caitlin, what happened?
So an older man actually was shouting that Trump was a Nazi and he was part of the KKK. And when I challenged those beliefs, he got right in my face, started touching me. He held onto my shoulder, and I told him to remove his hand from my body. I said, don't touch me. And he goes, I can touch you. I have the right to touch you, and I have the right to throw you on the ground right now and rape you. And I was just taken aback.
Did y'all get video of this? That's incredible.
Love and believing her and, supporting women, and yet they're telling me they have the right to throw me on the ground and rape me in front of everybody.
And you have this all on camera, right, Caitlin?
Oh yeah, it's on camera, and we will definitely be showing the world how tolerant the left is.
And from what I can tell, Rob, it seems like maybe this guy was making a play at how Kavanaugh has been confirmed, so he thinks that now it must be okay for any guy to go out there and rape or sexually assault a woman. So, why can't he do this to Caitlin here? That's just horrible that these leftist protesters are deciding to stoop so low, isn't it?
Yeah, they want to make a point that they're not happy with the sexual assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh, but that is not the way you do it. You don't tell a woman that you have a right to rape her. That is not how you get your point across, and I think it's something they don't understand. Them acting like that is the reason Trump got elected.
Exactly. What do you think about that, Rob? Does that shock you that the left would stoop so low, that we'd have leftist protesters saying that?
Yeah, it's very shocking and disturbing on a lot of levels that they're now saying, oh, well, we said it's okay because basically we took a 35-year-old allegation that could not be corroborated, and we said, you know what, this is BS, which it was. She's gone back. She's got her $1.5 million payout from GoFundMe. So it's like, hey, that's great. She moves on. And now it's amazing that Democrats have taken that and saying, now we get to go around and say we are the party of raping people. And we will start telling women that we could put our hands on them and rape them. That's completely disgusting. It wasn't even proven that Brett Kavanaugh did this. And we had an investigator who was at the hearing who said, I wouldn't even put a warrant against this. There's no evidence here. There's no there. There's really nothing. So that's amazing that we're seeing that now already, less than a week after Brett Kavanaugh is confirmed. Wow.
Well, this is what happens when you have Eric Holder come out and say that, when they, as in the conservatives, the Trump supporters, go low, we need to just kick them. Essentially, they need to go lower. And Hillary Clinton was already calling to essentially cease any civility with Trump supporters until Trump is impeached. So the left has decided to take on a tactic of just losing all civility, getting dirty. There were some protesters out here that were trying to act like they were tolerant and that they wanted to be loving and, love Trump's hate. But then the next minute they're shouting and being mean and having profanities. So we all know how that goes.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Did you talk to what were the Trump supporters, what were they saying that their biggest, I guess that the reason they are still supporting Donald Trump at this point?
Well, many of the Trump supporters were actually saying that, the main reasons they support Trump has to do with economics. This area was hit really hard by coal leaving and steel leaving. So we had a lot of steel workers that had lost their jobs and coal workers that lost their jobs during the Obama era because those jobs went overseas, and they just want to see those jobs come back, the industry come back, those regulations lifted. They want to see their area improved economically. And we actually did speak to, surprisingly, a lot of people that used to be Democrats that changed for Trump. So there was a lot of past Democratic voters out here today that we spoke to. What do you take from this, Caitlin? Because I know you've been in Ohio, living in Ohio for a long time. How has Ohio been affected by these Democrat policies?
So I know my family specifically, it has a lot to do with health care because of Obamacare. They actually have a private health insurance, and because of Obamacare, they raised our premiums so much. It kind of hurt us because my family owns a small business. So that really hit us hard, having to go by those policies of Obamacare for providing health care to people. It really limits our ability to expand our family business, because if we have to pay health insurance to people, if we have more than 40 employees, that really hurts us. And it, loses jobs. We could expand more than 40 people, have 50 employees, but instead we're going to stay back below that 40 employee line so that we don't have to fork out that much money. So there's 10 people that could have had jobs that now won't. So that's one policy that has affected us in Ohio specifically.
Yeah, definitely. The Obama Obamacare really hurt a lot of small businesses and affected jobs in this country. But Rob, we do have some people that are kind of lingering around that might want to jump on and be interviewed. I don't know if that's something you're open to.
Totally open for it. Let's hear from the people. That's what we're here for. This midterm election coverage is basically extra work that we're doing in order to get more of the word out. So I appreciate you being out there in PA and Caitlin, of course, for stepping in and being courageous. But yeah, let's see what some other people have to say out there.
Okay,
and,
sure.
We're going to actually play your live video.
Are we on a delay, though?
Yeah. Well, we're just if they hopefully if they hit curse, we'll hit the button. Don't worry. But
Okay,
I do want to let you know we are going to play at least 10 minutes of your live stream from earlier today.
Okay. Okay, so they're playing a video right now. Millie Weaver reporting for Infowars.com. We're here in Erie, Pennsylvania, where protesters are protesting a Donald Trump rally here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time that's about to start. Let's go talk to some of these protesters. But I will say this, we're also here with Caitlin Bennett, who has had a little bit of a run-in with some of these protesters. What are some of the wild things that they've been saying to you, Caitlin?
So a veteran against Trump was trying to tell me that Trump was a Nazi and he was endorsed by the KKK. And I challenged him on that and I asked him to give me some proof. Oh my gosh. But anyway, he said that he looked me right in the eyes and he said that I have the right to rape you. I'm going to throw you on the ground and rape you right now. And the women around him that were holding Believe Women signs defended him and drug him away and said, it's fine, we know you didn't say that. I am a woman, we have it on film, and they did not believe me that he said he was gonna do that to me. So that's what kind of people were out here today.
Wow, that's pretty wild, Caitlin. So was he trying to say that he has justification in doing that to you because you're not a liberal woman or because of the points of view you have politically?
So he, as soon as first he touched me and I told him not to touch me, and then I started challenging his beliefs, and once he realized that I in fact was not a liberal, he decided to say, well, since afterwards he said Trump can do it, so why can't I?
Okay, so what they're getting at is, because Kavanaugh was confirmed, right? That means all of us liberal guys can go around and harass and sexually abuse women and get away with it?
Yeah, that's exactly what he was saying. And then
well, let's go talk to these people. I'm sure they're going to say some crazy things.
All right. So we're going to get to the rest of this coming up. Millie actually has some people standing by right now, so I want to go to her back again in Erie, PA on location. And it's all because of your support out there. Go on InfoWarsStore.com where we do have some great deals that I'm going to get to. But Millie, go ahead. Oh, I love that shirt that guy's wearing. It's the Calvin and Hobbes meme.
As you can see, I know what's
all right. So what's your name, sir, and how has this area been affected by Democratic policies?
Well, my name is Bill Geist, first of all, and I'm about 2.5 hours southeast here, Millie. And this place, as you really travel around just about any of these roads, you can see factory after factory after factory shut down. Pothole after pothole after pothole on all these roads. My father actually passed away a couple of years ago, but he spent a lot of time in the hospital up here. And so I traveled all the time. Roads absolutely terrible. In fact, if you even just turn your cameras just right over there, you can see massive potholes right behind you. It's terrible. It's all over the place. And what's sad is you would understand if it was just a bunch of like community family houses all over the place. But you can tell as you drive around, this is a big, or at least one point, a huge metropolitan area. But it isn't anymore, you know? NAFTA, all the trade jobs, all the illegal immigrant labor, just absolutely decimated what could be the potential of this once awesome place. And it would be one thing for, it's like a generational thing. From one generation to another, it's like sometimes things seem okay. And then other times it's like, you go a couple generations later, and it's like, wow, these are not what my parents and grandparents used to talk about. Like, it used to be awesome. And now you look around, and it's just decimated.
Does it seem like things have started to change, though, since Trump's been in office?
Well, for one, as we all know, just public opinion in general has changed. Just the idea of hope. gives people a great amount of magnitude and towards really an upward lift, you know. People have hope. And whether it's, and you look at the dollar. They took the dollar off the gold standard back, what was it, Nixon? You know, used to be all kinds of hope. And you all know when hope's gone, it's all gone. And there's no difference in the economy. You could tie the dollar to gold. You could tie it to the infrastructure. You could tie it to the banks. You could tie it to anything. But once the confidence is gone, it all dies. It all doesn't matter.
Have you always considered yourself to be more of a conservative or Republican?
Well, you know, that's a beautiful question. I actually just had this argument not too long ago, earlier this evening when I got up here to Erie. And I heard it once long ago by somebody who I thought summarized it pretty well. When you grow up, you're supposed to be a Democrat because, you know, when you grow up, you're always getting spanked. Life's not fair, life's tough, and all this and all that. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's the whole idea of learning.
Right, because you have this idea of authority figures providing for you and not having to take responsibility for your life. And then real life hits you.
Right. All of a sudden, you start taking care of your own. You start paying your own bills. And then you realize just how tattered your knuckles again. Like, look at my hat. It's a Snap-on hat. You know, those are tools. Those are the best tools on the planet, American made. And, you know, I busted my knuckles a long time to provide this hat. And, you know, when I was young and I was in high school thinking, oh, the world's not fair, blah, blah, blah. And actually, like the liberals act today, everything should just be handed to me in a bucket of bullshit.
No cursing.
I'm sorry. But, you know, really what it seems like. But as you get older, you start to work hard for your money. You start to work hard for your living. And you get it. And you understand. And so then you see these liberals like Hillary, or Killary, whichever you'd like to call her, you know, talking about how everything's perfect. You can have anything you want, just vote for me, versus Trump that says, hey, this is going to be tough. This is going to be difficult. Or any other conservative, any other Republican that says you got to work hard for what you got. That's the way it gets when you get older. So I think, in general, as a model for all United States citizens, when you're younger, I think Democrat is the way it should be voted. But when you become older and you start earning your keep and you start getting bruised knuckles and you start getting sore shoulders.
When you're no longer allowed to live on your mom's couch in the basement.
Absolutely. When you're no longer a snowflake, taking care, you know, having everybody else take care of your needs, you understand the importance of what
right, that's exactly it. When you start making money and it comes time for taxes, you feel that hit like, hey, that's my money I worked my butt off for, and now the government's taking it.
It's a total yin and yang. It totally flips the script.
So,
you know, and it's
how are you going to get that message across to the young people? I mean, that they need to go out and take care of themselves.
Isn't that the answer? We all want to know. How are we going to do that?
Good answer.
Well, that's your job. I'm asking you, how are you going to get that message across to the young people? You yourself, you are part of a media corporation. Spread that message. Tell them, hey, go out, get a freaking job.
Yeah, we're doing it right now, sir.
Are you doing that, or are you spreading a message of something else?
Well, you tell me what you gathered from.
Well, what do you think? We're live right now on air, so you want to spread the message to people out there. What do you think? You're from this area. How has this area been affected under the Democrat policies?
Well, this county voted for Trump in 2016, and the pothole still ain't fixed.
Yeah. I can give you one example. It was about a year ago, not even a year ago, I picked him up, or actually he picked me up, rather. I was working up from the area, and I told him how I had walked from my job. I walked
Okay, hold on. We got brothers over here who are.
I walked from my job down here in the Bayfront. I walked from my job, and I ended up going like through the hood, as you would call the hood. And of course, he got off of work not long after, picked me up, and I explained to him my experience walking through the hood. And he says, well, that dominates about 80–90% of the landscape. And I asked him, how do the Democrat policies work for you? I mean, that was all I needed to hear. to just really nail it home. I mean, I get the idea. Look, some people have a tough time.
Hey,
Some people
what you call
want
the
to
hood
help.
is what we call a neighborhood.
But
So
man, that's
you
not
better
what.
be careful.
I'm going off of what you described.
So
Not
here's
mine.
here's one thing I will make a distinction on here, Rob. I
Yeah.
know that at least from the history of what happened with Youngstown, Youngstown right now, the population has literally diminished to half or less than half of what it used to be when it was booming, when you had steel there. Now, as soon as steel left, what happened was you had this big booming city where you had all of this infrastructure, all these roads, all these bridges, these waterways to fit a population of like 160,000 people. What happened? Steel mills leave. Okay. And yes, the Democrat unions did play a role in these steel mills being run off. Steel mills leave. The Youngstown area starts to, the population starts to decline because you immediately have a massive loss of jobs. And then essentially everything goes downhill from there. The service industry jobs, the schools all start shutting down because the kids aren't there anymore. Teachers are losing their jobs. It was a crash. Essentially in Youngstown right now, the population is maybe like 60,000. So it's lost like 100,000 people. So you
Which
have
is
this
tax
huge
revenue.
infrastructure.
Mhm.
You have this massive infrastructure that required taxpayers to be able to pay to upkeep the roads, to fill the potholes, essentially. And they have no way of doing it. Their sewer systems are being dilapidated. The streets have potholes. The buildings, you have condemned buildings, dilapidated buildings everywhere. So this is what happens when you let these jobs just leave, these industries just leave and go overseas or go wherever to other areas because Democrat policies chase it out and regulations chase it out. So the reason these people in these areas are complaining about potholes is because the people have left, the taxpayers have left, and they don't have the tax revenue to pay for the potholes. So when Trump's coming in here saying, hey, we need to bring this industry back, everyone here goes, yes, of course, because the people will come back to the town for employment, the tax revenue comes back, then we get our potholes filled. So it's going to take time. They might not have been filled yet, but it's going to take time.
It doesn't take a genius. You wander around 12th Street, State Street, 8th Street. You wander around downtown Erie. Anybody with half a brain can easily see what has happened. Economics is everything. Everybody knows that. They talk about you don't need money to survive, but we all know how that goes. You got to pay your taxes. And part of what taxes pay, and part of what we elect these officials for, is to take care of us. It's nice that Erie has a beautiful building. And I'm not knocking Erie for the fact that they have a beautiful building beside a road with terrible potholes. But somebody has to be held accountable. And one of the things I love about Trump's policies, the whole deep state. I understand and I get the whole deep state. Some people don't. I get it. But unfortunately for you guys, presidency isn't a personality contest. It's a who the hell can get the job done. And as far as I could see, the government is a massive, massive business. Like the rest of the world could only thrive or even dream to see. And yet, Trump is the solution, Matt. Trump is the solution.
So you consider yourself a little bit more Democrat.
order. It's the American dream is attainable to people who want to get out and realize that dream. When you look at the hours of the day people waste looking at their phones or going out drinking at bars or going to watch sporting events, there's nothing wrong with any of that. But if that's all you do and you're just happy with your job, that you go to your job and then you do that, you know how things get done in this country? People tinkering in their garages at night, people doing extra stuff that's going to, I know plenty of people who are like on YouTube doing their thing on YouTube, but they also have a regular job to support that. And then at some point you'll reach the tipping point where, hey, the thing you're doing is going to, boom, be better than what your real job is, or your jobby job, as they like to say. And then you're going to be able to realize your dreams. But it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to be winning the lottery like that. It's just going to be hard work. It's the only way to get by and to really succeed in this economy. One thing I will let people know, if you're looking for a job out there, InfoWars Yes is a good part-time job to start on the side. You can check out the things we have there, and it's an opportunity where you can start your own business and run it the way you want to. It is selling products, and they're health and beauty products, which is a big market, especially now. As people are getting more money, they're going to spend more things on the luxuries, which is health products and beauty products, especially if you're a woman. They spend a lot in beauty products. So check out InfoWarsYes.com and see what they have to offer. That's a group that's partnered with Alex Jones to basically bring you a different line of products that we offer at InfoWarsLife.com, but in the same type of thing, well-being, beauty, wellness. Check it out, InfoWarsYes.com. So there you go. And okay, we still got 15 minutes. We're on a special clock tonight, so we're not taking as many breaks, which is great for me because it allows me to let's go to Andrew in Georgia. Wants to talk about a close race going on in Georgia. Go ahead, Andrew. Who's in the race?
Oh, hey, it's Brian Kemp, and he's going against the Democrat here, Stacey Abrams. It's going to be a tight race. He's not the strongest candidate. Thanks for taking my call, by the way, and I appreciate the extended extra broadcast you guys are doing. Love the products. Yeah, like I said, Brian Kemp, he's not the strongest, but he needs the support. Where in times past, I would just, write in Ron Paul's name instead of McCain or Romney. Like, we've seen how these Democrats are getting so extreme that, I can't do that as much anymore. I like to be more independent, but they're so extreme on the other side that I have to go with Kemp, who isn't the best, but, he's better than Abrams.
Isn't that interesting how this extremism that the Democrat is pushing, and even Hillary Clinton's pushing, and I'll play the clip in a second, how they're so vested in hating anything that is, associated with Donald Trump. In fact, they're more concerned with just hating Trump than they are with anything else. It's like whatever Trump has done to them, which I don't think he has. I think he's in it for the right reasons. They are just they're sick of him, and they've turned themselves sick, and it really is disturbing. I think a lot of it's the social media, especially now with this social media censorship that's happening. I think more people are thinking, wow, there is going to be a big blue wave, but I think it's a small little echo chamber. It's not most of the working Americans. You go to these, you look at these protests like we're having at the Supreme Court. It's older women and younger women, and sprinkle with a few cuck men who are looking to be white knights. It's not that much in between. And so you have to wonder, who is this message getting out to? What is the Democratic Party? Is it just a feminist anti-man party? Because that's where it seems to be going to me. It doesn't seem to be they have any interest in talking to anybody who might be a white male or a male in general. And especially if you're a male that supports Donald Trump. We saw that with the CNN clip that Owen played a few times today, talking about Kanye West, who was having lunch with the president today. It'd be great, to see Kanye West come out and say, hey, I'm going to do this and this to make more things happen for this country. And that's what he seems to be wanting to do, too. He's interested in being a positive influence on this country. And I think what he saw the Democrats are doing was disastrous and is creating more sick people than well productive people. And we need people to be productive and well to keep this country on the right track and keep it moving forward. And so I appreciate your call, Andrew, calling from Georgia. And there it is, Matrix Breakers. Kanye West defends Alex Jones and Donald Trump. Would love to see that video. I contacted the guy who shot the video. and he's yet to get back to me. Let's go to Franklin in Pennsylvania. Oh, you know what, though? Before we go to Franklin, I want to go to that Hillary Clinton clip about civility because people really need to see this. She's literally trying to hold the American people hostage with that type of comment. So let's go to it right now.
You cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and/or the Senate, that's when civility can start again. But until then, the only thing that the Republicans seem to recognize and respect is strength. And you heard how.
All right. So basically trying to hold the American people hostage, saying, look, we'll go back to being civil when you put us in office because that's our power. We want it, and we deserve it because we're Democrats. All right, let's go to Franklin in Pennsylvania. Let's talk about the Turnpike. That's a very, you know, I tell you what, the one thing I learned by living in Pennsylvania is that if you worked on the Turnpike, you made a really good salary with a lot of benefits for accounting change and handing it out.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
Well, the Turnpike is my issue. Ed Rendell basically leased it out to foreign entities back in 2008 for like $12 billion. They got a 75-year lease on it.
Isn't that special?
Given that the Turnpike was the one entity would be a cash flow generator where you could make money off of it and still maintain it, but they didn't bother to maintain it. They paid the employees well, but they let the road go to hell, and then they said they didn't have enough money to fix it, so they needed to lease it out to get money to fix the other roads in Pennsylvania. So they just misappropriated funds from one cash flow area, and then they got money from another cash flow area in the lease, and now you don't know if they're spending that properly. It's just a boondoggle.
Of course they're not spending it properly. Who did they lease it to? Is there a name to this company?
It's three companies formed like a commission that but one was an Australian company. It's let's see if I remember correctly. It's like Criteria Caxia Corp, Albertus Infrastructuris, and Infrastructure Investors, Citi. So that was probably the bank subsidiary. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's just these people come in and say, look, this is an opportunity for us to borrow money probably and give it to the state or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then get all the revenue for 75 years, and maybe they spend the money on improvements, or maybe they don't, but who's going to know until it's too late?
Yeah, there's a guy, I'm looking up his name right now, Larry Sharp, running for governor of New York, and he has some great ideas on infrastructure. And it's not about leasing it to foreign companies and letting them take all the money. Because what the foreign companies do is they get in and they're like, oh, we're just going to start jacking up rates. 5% a year. Boom, 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 boom. And then they get to keep that money. And, of course, they look around and go, hey, they didn't maintain the roads before. We could probably get by not maintaining the roads now. So they don't do it.
Right, but American infrastructure was always supposed to be a jobs generator for middle-class Americans to be able to maintain the infrastructure after we borrowed money to build it. It was never supposed to be something we leased out to other places.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But look, Larry Sharp's got an idea. But one thing about these bridges that people pay tolls on, not a ton of bridges in Pennsylvania do they do that, but in Jersey and in New York, they have high tolls there. And he says, you know what? We're just going to we're going to lease these out to giant corporations who want to, they have to pay a lease for the bridge and they have to take care of maintaining it. And we're not going to charge any tolls, but we get to rename the bridge like the Verizon Wireless Brooklyn Bridge. And every morning people can talk about the Verizon Wireless Brooklyn Bridge and how much traffic is on it. They'll get free advertising. They'll have their name. They can plaster their logo feces, like George Carlin says, all over it. But who cares? It's being paid for and you're not paying a toll anymore, which seems like a win-win situation for the average Joe out there trying to get to work, having to pay $15, $20 just to cross a bridge and then have it fall apart. And he said with the roads, he says, we'll lease them out to these giant companies like Amazon, where they will maintain the road. That's all they have to do is maintain the road. And then they can build a road right next to it that they can do whatever they want with. They can run their cars on it. They can do whatever they want. He's got some interesting ideas that I think could need to be explored. I would love to see this guy win, especially beat Cuomo as the governor. And he does have a chance. He's running as a libertarian. It's a 5-way race. So 30% of the vote can win because it's a winner-take-all. Out of 5 people, you get enough in there. Not a lot of people like Cuomo, and there's not a lot of Republicans in New York. So if they decide to vote libertarian, you can see a guy in there who's got some ideas, at least to start with. Not, well, we have a tax base, so we're going to raise the tax base a little more this year so we can all have better pensions, which is how I seem to think most of the Northeast runs, on taxes and pensions. Thank you for calling, Franklin in Pennsylvania. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm all there.
All righty. Appreciate you calling in. Nice, clear phone line, too. All right, Marco, I got about 4 minutes. So we heard from a construction guy in Pennsylvania who said he's never seen the work that he's had in the years he's been in construction since Trump got in office. So he's seeing a turnaround.
Well, I guess in certain aspects, some of this is like geographical because, in the grand scheme of things, yes, a lot of work has been created, but I'm getting off topic with this. I talked about the wall originally. I mean, the only reason why I'm concerned about it is because I live in a corridor, where a lot of human trafficking is between, Texas through Alabama, all the way through Nashville and things like that. I mean, I've seen so many illegal immigrants, behind the Home Depots with mattresses and all kinds of things like that. It couldn't possibly be any worse. But on the other hand, we need to talk about things. I hope we can talk about things like how to prevent the voter fraud, because in Alabama, where I live, the whole Roy Moore epidemic where people were being bussed in and things like that. We need to talk about how we could protect against this. And I'm really hoping that this is the show that's going to, inform people on what they can do to stop people, protect our polling stations, and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's going to take people going to polling stations and watch what's going on. And if you see somebody that doesn't look like they belong, it's hard to figure that out.
I really hope that the people that are listening out there, are going to get in these people's faces. You're not a racist, dude. You can talk to people, who are Hispanic and things like that, and exchange pleasantries, in English towards them. And if they can't answer you, you know what they're there for.
Yeah, and I think we should have more people watching the polls, and we have to have voter ID.
And we have to have people watching these buses, because in Alabama, Roy Moore, Owen Schroyer, dude, went through a whole segment where 250,000 Republican votes were just cast away because he would sit here and leverage them against what the national rate was, in most of the country, and we were down due to 250,000 Republicans. And then all of a sudden, when people catch on to it, the Alabama state government, the voting bureau goes, everything's done and said for, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the man just got lost. And then all the people that accused him of rape and all that stuff, they just disappeared. And people need to protect themselves.
Yeah. Well, what was it called? The something smear. We played a Nancy Pelosi video. Cue that one up, guys. We'll get to that one. But we'll get that after the break. But they have a tactic that they use where they bring out people. They tell them they're going to get some money, they're going to get this and that, and they dredge up stuff, whether it's true or not. I totally agree with you. Those are big issues. I guess we lost him again. It looks like we lost Marco. That was a spirited conversation, Marco. I hope you organize some people in your area and you get out there during these elections and you watch the polls. You definitely need to do that. And I can't believe in this country we don't have voter ID. There's nothing wrong with having an ID. And hey, give them away for free if people are having. I can't pay for a voter ID, but I'm a citizen. Give them a voter ID. Let's have right people. It's the wrap-up, Schmear. Thank you, Schmear. I really do agree. We have to have that. In other countries, these developed countries, they make them stick their thumb in purple ink. So one, they can't vote again, and two, it shows that they voted. So it's a big, it's like camaraderie. Then you get to see who voted in your area. You're like, oh, you didn't vote. You didn't vote. Oh, you didn't vote. So you get what you deserve if you don't go out and vote. I voted in, I think, all these presidential elections and definitely most of the midterms. This is a very important midterm. You need to ask yourself, what kind of country do you want? Or do you like the direction we're going in? Or do you want to go back to stagnation and stagnation without representation? Because that's what you're going to get if you vote the Democrats. That's all they're interested in is power. We'll be back for one more half hour here for our 2018 band coverage of the midterm elections here at InfoWars Headquarters Central. We'll be right back after this short break.
Did you hear? Christmas is coming in October. Black Friday's coming in October. Cyber Monday's coming in October. What's really coming in October is incredible deals, 50% off at InfoWarsStore.com and free shipping. And it's all to stand up against the censors that are really pushing to shut down InfoWars.com and to shut down your voice. Now, I'm sure that you've seen that they want InfoWars to go the way of the dodo bird or the way of the dinosaurs because they themselves are collapsing and going that direction. And you've seen massive corporate demonization and lies about us, and you've seen the attempts to take our sponsors away and to be able to take our banking away so we can't even process orders. This is a concerted, un-American cartel mafia operation. And now, as we enter the middle of October 2018, it has intensified. Now, we have major stockpiles of incredibly high-quality supplements, T-shirts, books, films, air filtration, water filtration, you name it, built up for Black Friday and, of course, for Cyber Monday and for Christmas. But I'm not even 100% confident we'll be able to engage in commerce then. So that's why, with this concerted effort of the globals coming down on us, that Christmas is coming early, Black Friday's coming early, Cyber Monday's coming early. All those sales we had planned for the next 2 months are now condensed into starting now. And until things sell out, or until we are successful, or until they shut us down, who the hell knows? The point is they're moving against us everywhere and licking their lips to shut down our self-funded operation that is here because of you. InfoWars is in your hands. InfoWars has always been in your hands, and we were the #1 media organization in the world after Drudge Report. But when it came to video and audio, #1 in the election of Trump. And so they shadow banned us, and they took our sponsors, they wouldn't let us advertise, and they strangled us. And still, because of you getting the word out, we were dominating. And so now they're coming after our ability at InfoWarsStore.com to even have credit card processing. But we've got it, we've got backups, but they're like a mafia targeting those. So get your X2, even though it's selling out the last run, 50% off. Brainforce selling out, 50% off. Supermel Vitality, 50% off. Every supplement, 50% off. Now, I do that with air filtration, water filtration. They don't even have 50% markup to take off, but they're discounted as well. And free shipping, store-wide, InfoWarsStore.com. So this is the October Black Friday coming early. This is Christmas coming early. This is Cyber Monday coming early. This is Christmas in October. Get the great supplements you already love and need that you know are great, the 5-star ratings, and go ahead and buy your Christmas gifts so that you have them. Don't have to fight traffic. Christmas is only 2 months away, and you can support the InfoWar while getting great products. A win-win. I'm counting on you. You've always come through. They know you always come through, which is why they want to deny you the right and the ability with a 5-star rated organization with the best banking scores and best credit you can have. I mean, our credit card rate's 2%. Nobody's got that. Credit card processing. They want to shut down because we're successful. We expose them. And now is your chance more than ever to step in and make sure we've got funds to go into the next year. We're in some serious times because we've been effective, we've been strong, we've been forceful, we've been successful. You've been successful by supporting us. So, InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com today. In this mega sale, 50% off free shipping to help bring the InfoWar to the next level. I'm counting on you. You always come through. Take advantage of this. Let's make it our most successful sale ever.
InfoWars.com is tomorrow's news today.
All right, final half hour of our 2018 band midterm election coverage here at InfoWars Election Headquarters. I'm your host, Rob Dew. Thank you for joining me. This is our kickoff of something we're going to be doing every weekday night up until the election for the midterms on November 6th. And then by that time, I think we'll have a better idea of what we're going to launch. We're going to have more guests. We had Millie Weaver on earlier tonight. Had a very entertaining interview with two brothers where you definitely saw the brotherly love, but you could also see what happens when you educate one person in a college setting and one person goes to a trade school and gets a job and works their butt off. Now, I was talking about this clip earlier, the wrap-up schmear, which is what Nancy Pelosi labeled this tactic, which they played against Roy Moore, and it worked, but it didn't work against Judge Kavanaugh. I think because Kavanaugh had he had all of his ends tied up. I mean, he wasn't the type of person they tried to say he was. They couldn't find people to corroborate any of his stories. With Roy Moore, there was definitely a little too much left to the imagination, and it's a shame, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And so let's go with the wrap-up schmear. This is a tactic that the Democrats use to go after people.
You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. Call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it.
We need to know, are we about to put somebody on the United States Supreme Court who committed a sexual assault?
I believe the survivor. I believe the woman.
I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up.
Blumenthal.
And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear.
All that time he was out fooling around with his buddies. We know what
my name's Chris
Cook. It doesn't mean what he says it means.
Cuomo, you can't read these
the
emails.
President's U.S. Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, assaulted her when she and Kavanaugh were both in high school.
There is evidence suggesting to her that he was part of the gang rape.
And then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
What are you talking about it? Who are you? Anyway, who are you to talk about it? And tell all these women they don't know what
There it is, the wrap-up schmear. Brought to you by the Daily Caller News Foundation. All right, let's go to Tom in Ohio. Let's talk about Trump's greatest accomplishment. What is it, Tom? Let us know.
Rob, I'm on a speakerphone. Do you want me to go to the regular phone?
Yeah, regular phone would probably sound better, although that's not the worst phone line I've heard tonight.
I'm on the regular phone. There you go.
Oh, that sounds much better. Yes.
There you go. You know, I've been listening to Alex Jones for probably 20 years.
Wow.
And I've never called in.
Huh. First time caller.
I'm 64 years old. I'm a retired economist.
Ooh.
And I'm going to tell you what Trump's greatest accomplishment is going to be. It is the reformation of the monetary system. He's going to put us back on a gold-based system. I've studied this for 10 years now. And he's surrounded by people. There's a woman, I can't remember her name offhand, and they're all prepared for when the Fed, or better yet, London, tries to crash the U.S. dollar. And what they're now prepared to do is the Fort Knox gold was stolen. Remember, do you recall that weird thing where he sent the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin down to Fort Knox, and he had on those white gloves, walked in front of the cameras, holding up a bar of gold and said, "Gold is good." Do you remember that?
I do.
And that's what. So the last attack from the deep state, London, whatever you want to call it, the New World Order, is the attack on the U.S. monetary system, the dollar-based system. But here's the point. Whatever country declares that their currency is now gold-backed is the winner for eons going forward. What's going on is so brilliant by this administration. And bear in mind, Trump went into that, graduated from that very, very, very special elite program from the Wharton School of Economics. And he knows everything. Everything. And that's why I'm saying it's going to be his greatest accomplishment.
Now, do you think the Fed is going to kick this off? Because I think the Fed, with raising interest rates, is trying to do some damage to the economy.
What he's going to do, the Fed, they're orchestrating a collapse right now. They're orchestrating it. But this administration is prepared to deflect that. And what will occur, and I've had friends that are not economists, but friends scoff at me when I tell them, when Trump pulls this off, we will have sustained, once again, 10% economic growth again that will go on forever.
You know, and it's funny you say that 10% number, because he said that he wants to get it to 10%.
He is going to take it to 10%.
How much do you think gold's going to be worth if he ties it to, because right now it's what, 1,300 an ounce?
It's right now, we're at 1,200. What it's Jim Rickards, who's very famous. He's very deep state, insider. He knows everything. What they're going to revalue gold to like 13,000 an ounce. That's what's going to happen. That's where it's going. But then silver is going to be dragged up to about 600 an ounce.
It's going to be like
right
Bitcoin
now,
all over again.
Right now, it's $14. I'm talking about in the next 2 years. That's my prediction.
Wow.
I'm just as an independent, and I'm an independent analyst. But that's my point is, this will be recognized as Donald Trump's greatest accomplishment is the reformation of the world monetary system.
Yeah, well, I hope we see that, Tom. I appreciate your call.
Yeah,
you need to do some videos. You got a good voice.
Can I mention
well, I got to get to these other callers. Call back tomorrow. We're gonna be doing this up until the election. But I got 2 more callers, and then I want to play this report from Alex. So I'm running out of time. But I do appreciate your call. You definitely have some insight there. Put your stuff out on YouTube. Let us know about it. We'd love to play it. Let's go to Curse Zero in Virginia. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, you're on the air.
Thank you, big man. I've been trying for a while. I was introduced to Alex Jones about 2 years ago, and I understood that he was doing exactly what I've been trying to do, more or less. He's trying to equip, and I'm going to use my friend's words. I'm going to quote him as Batman because that's what he likes to be known as. He's trying to let these level zeros know how it is to equip a cotton shirt, more or less. I'm calling in to broadcast that I've been trying to get in touch with any way means through digital social media with Alex Jones or someone within the organization to state the one simple thing that I have not heard within the entire 9/11 set of facts. Whenever Obama, excuse me, I apologize. Whenever Trump pointed out during his campaign about the Muslim families that were shipped off back to Saudi Arabia, or excuse me for misquoting if I am, whenever he was talking about the Muslim families that were airported
Bin
out,
Laden
he was
family.
technically talking about Tim Osman, who became Osama bin Laden, which was a CIA agent of Tim Osman.
Right. He didn't mention Tim Osman, though. He mentioned them flying the families after 9/11 out of the country. He mentioned that to Bush.
And the entire point is in order to create, it's a created problem, and they give you the solution for their own created problem. That's what the Democrats do if you want to turn this political. But I personally want to shoot the bird. I don't believe in a left wing or right wing. I just want to shoot the bird. Because I believe, exactly like my friend Batman states, the only reason why Donald Trump chose to go Republican is because he knew he wouldn't become a candidate as an independent. So
I totally agree. I think he's definitely more of an independent than a Republican. That's why the Republicans didn't like him, especially the establishment Republicans.
So I will more or less just put out there CURSED ZER number 0, number 1 Google search item. This is myself. And yes, I'm in the digital media world. I try to clothe myself as a wolf in sheep's clothing, more or less. And I'm a DARTHNEOYLK. That's Darth Neo YLK on Facebook. And you will see a bunch of my recent posts are hashtag all I do is Owen, hashtag real news, hashtag David Knight, hashtag Tyler Baggins.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, Curse Zero, I got to run. I got one more caller I want to get to before I get to this video, and we're running out of time. Thank you for putting your stuff out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Let's go to Kenyon in Texas. Go ahead, Kenyon. Got 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Rob?
Doing good.
Hey, I got a suggestion for you guys. I use your caveman creamer. I use your caveman in my coffee every morning, and it's a little gritty at the bottom of the cup, you know. And I was going to suggest for a way for y'all to be able to sell more of your caveman product is to try to put that in a creamer format where people that buy your coffee can also, because, I mean, it's really good in your coffee in the morning. And then I also want to make suggestions that I use a lot of your products, and I always keep the empty bottles. So when I try to turn my friends onto your product, you know, I give them samples so they know how to get to the InfoWars store to buy the products. And I've tried to email that tips at Infowars.com a few times, and I never get a response. But what y'all need to do is sell little sample packs where you can put like 2 capsules of the, the Knockout is my favorite product, or the Brain Force, so that whenever you try to, the best form of sales is word of mouth. And I know that Alex is right now he's just getting into some of that network marketing, and I've been a big network marketer. The best form of advertisement is word of mouth. And if y'all want to grow your sales and grow the InfoWars store, you need to sell sample packs where we can hand them out to our friends. And then if they try the product and they like it, the website or whatever is on the back of the sample packs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a pretty good idea. I actually wrote that down. I'm going to throw that to our product guys, because I know we are working on some things where but I think it's like a vitamin thing. I don't know how much I should let out of the bag, but basically it's sort of like that. Like there's like 5 pills in it, and you open that up and you take that for the day. But I probably did just let too much out of the bag. Appreciate your suggestion, Kenny, and I'm going to pass that on to him. Sample packs.
One more thing, too, what I'd probably do, too, is print up some literature, too, that can be sold through the InfoWars store, even if it's just business cards or cards that, send people to the show or whatever, any kind of brochures or literature that, because we're basically like soldiers in the field for you guys.
Right.
And the more that you give us the artillery and utilize us as your soldiers, the more that we can spread the word, by handing out product and handing out brochures and literature, hand to hand, or even if you go door to door, or if you go to, events, Trump events, and you can hand out. So, I mean, y'all need to try to get some artillery for your soldiers is what I'm trying to suggest.
All right. Well, I will mark those down, and I will let the good people know back in our product section about those ideas. I want to play this Trump. Hey, thanks for calling, Kenyon. Appreciate it. Now I want to go to this report that Alex Jones posted earlier today about Hillary running for 2020 election. That's all for us tonight. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
I have now confirmed that Hillary Clinton is planning to run in 2020, and they're going to hand her the nomination. That's why they're trying to shut down all the independent nationalist media ahead of time to clear the way for her to take Trump's legs out from under him. Stand by for this bombshell intel. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Jones here with a very important breaking news item. Now, we've heard rumors of this, and we've seen even mainstream media report that Democrats are being told that Hillary is at least looking at running for president in 2020. Well, I've got it from high-level sources, but also sources very, very close to Hillary Rodham Clinton, and I'm going to stop right there, that indeed she is planning to run, and that she's already set up in private her exploratory committee, and that they're already letting other Democrats know that she's going to be the nominee. So that means even if somebody like Bernie Sanders wins the delegates again, they'll just have the superdelegates veto that and hand the power fraudulently to her. So it's a repeat of what happened in the primaries in 2016, the total arrogance. The Republicans tried the same thing on Trump, but it didn't work because we said, no, that's a fraud. They tried to sell the idea, but we revolted against it. But the Democrats are so controlled, they didn't. Now, I'm going to get to the big news here in a moment, but just setting the table for this, Hillary basically controls the Democratic Party. Soros funds about 80% of it. And then she's got a couple billion still left in her foundation. It's legally hard for her to get that out and use it unless she uses some of it on the campaign. So she uses it for mansions and private jets and payoffs and things right now, and financing lawsuits against me, and trying to shut down the real American media. Ahead of her running in really about a year. So she would be announcing in about a year, maybe even sooner. Trump was smart to announce, what was it, 6 months ago, to get ahead of all this and to go ahead and start campaigning now, because in truth, the campaign cycle never really ends. But here's the big news. I've talked to high-level Republicans, I've talked to high-level Democrats, and I've confirmed that because she has the money, she has the power, the Democratic Party is so authoritarian that it doesn't matter if she can hardly walk. It doesn't matter if she has coughing fits everywhere. It doesn't matter if she looks like she's 20 years older than she is. It doesn't matter if she reportedly drinks a bottle of vodka every day. She's so arrogant, so power-grasping, just like Bill Clinton's looked like a corpse for 10 years. What keeps them alive is the thirst for power and the thirst to dominate America and do the handover of America to the Chi-Coms and the globalists. Now, here's the big news. I know a lot of people that obviously have done security for Hillary Clinton. And I know people currently that have very, very close connections to Hillary. And I happen to know some folks who don't like Hillary very much because of Benghazi. And I'll leave it at that. But I will tell you, just because the enemy already knows of what I speak being true, that the arrogance of Hillary being rude, not only to every security detail she's ever had, that I'll tell you about in a moment, but also being very, very rude and hateful to even senior people under her and senior people currently in the Central Intelligence Agency. So I had the fourth person from the CIA yesterday in person tell me that they have confirmed that Hillary is running and basically giving the same intel that I just gave you. And these folks don't like her because, again, of Benghazi. And it wasn't Tonto. That's not who told me. But let's just say, because the enemy already knows all this stuff, that it was somebody who served with them. And this is the fourth person from the CIA. And when I say CIA, I mean the real CIA, not the leftist professor CIA, where they just hand out little CIA cards to them all so they can feel powerful and let them dox everybody and let them have, database. So if Antifa tries to make you run them over in Portland, you're an old man, they then dox your car within minutes because they've got the police down the street, uploading information. So this information comes from the State Department. This information comes from the CIA. This information comes from the Secret Service. The same Secret Service that told us a month before Hillary fell down on 9/11 in 2016, look, we can't give you any classified info, but she's got a tent. She's having convulsions every 45 minutes on average. She's got a black ambulance. And if you just have reporters follow her, Alex, you will catch her collapse. 2 weeks later, Millie Weaver caught him with her in a tent for over an hour, running in with emergency stretchers, and then she didn't even do the event. Then 2 weeks after that, she fell on her face like a sack of potatoes. And the Secret Service said they threw her in the van, in the black ambulance, the camouflaged ambulance, like a sack of potatoes. The clandestine ambulance. So she's even in worse health now than she was. She's had multiple brain surgeries, and she just treats everybody like crap. And we can sit around and we can laugh at Hillary and think about how pathetic this is, but remember why she thinks she can still win. She already wanted to shut down the independent media and the nationalist media once she got elected president. She'd given the dark heart speech about me and said they were going to shut down the, quote, fake news. That means the real news. But even though she lost, her stay-behind networks are still moving forward with this, and big tech, working with mainstream media, is shutting down their competition, not just ahead of the midterms, but ahead of 2020. And so that's why she thinks that what Trump had to support him in 2016 won't be there when she announces, I'd say within the next year, maybe even 8 months or so. So look for Hillary to announce within the next 8 months to 12 months. And by then, they'll have total censorship in place if Trump doesn't take action and move against this racketeering and this cartel. So that's why she's so incredibly arrogant and still thinks she can win. Because if we lay down, they could put her in there, like Matt Drudge joked 6-7 years ago, as a floating brain in a jar with bubbles oxygenating her. So we're talking about a brain in a jar. And the system ensconcing that as a sick joke against the titan
to advance the rights and opportunities
that we have in there right now. So that's why this is so incredibly important. Now, I was first told this by Secret Service 10 years ago.
For being part of this.
I was then told about it by former Blackwater people who were also CIA.
History makers, troublemakers.
And then I was told this by more State Department people. And then I was told this by federal police, U.S. Marshals. And then now I've been told about it from 4 different people from the CIA. Okay? And I guess enough was thought of this yesterday for me to get the message with let's just say, particular documentation. So this was, information that you're meant to have. I'm going to leave it at that. That whenever they have a dog clear a hotel room or anywhere she was at bases overseas, she would say, get that effing piece of crap out of here. You're a bunch of animals in the military. You're a bunch of scum. You're retards. Don't even look me in the eyes. She would do this in briefings in the State Department and CIA, overseas and domestically. She is a monster crazy person. When you see her walking around strutting with that big demon smile, I mean, she is a borderline personality disorder, total narcissistic psychotic, with absolute delusions of grandeur on an unlimited psychotic power trip. I mean, she is Medusa on PCP. And people are fed up with her. Now, she's been left alone because she's so damaging to the Democrats and so pathetic. Like Trump said, he goes to sleep every night and dreams of what pathetic weaklings these people are and how he's going to crush them in 2020. The problem is they're going after the low-hanging fruit, yours truly, Alex Jones, and trying to destroy me. And they've reached out with olive branches through New York Times operatives and others in the last 2 years. I just leave Soros alone and trying to confuse the gender of kids alone and the Islamics alone, that I'll be left alone. Well, I know Beck got that same message 4 years ago and he rolled over. I'm not rolling over. So just understand that. But this is really huge news that I'm giving you. And basically, it's now gotten to the point where it's from the rooftops I'm being told this. And I'm being asked, why aren't you covering it? Why aren't you telling people? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover it. I'm going to talk about it. But again, you can look at mainstream news where she's preparing this. But we have to get out ahead of this and just talk about how ridiculous and pathetic it is, and just how controlled the Democratic Party is, so that when she does run and do it all, it'll blow up their face even worse. Because they're going to steal the nomination again, which is going to make all their people not vote again or go vote for Trump. Because we do have to battle the whole Taylor Swift phenomenon, and all the propaganda she's involved in, and the fact that, she's kind of an ace in the hole for them. So let's not get too confident here, but things are going really, really well as humanity awakens and as the pro-human future develops. But I'm going to stop right there. I'm asking all of you right now to get this out to everyone you know. Now back to Owen Schroyer and the live broadcast at Infowars.com/show. If you don't get this information out, nobody will. I'm counting on you, folks.
You've come a long way, baby, to get where you got to today. You got your own cigarette now, baby. You've come a long way.
Drew's only been here about 4 or 5 months, and he's behind the camera right now. And I just done this big pitch for our new product for women that is the best products, the best ingredients we can come up with. And he said, man, you need to reshoot this. Literally 20 seconds ago. And I said, what? He goes, what's that Virginia Slims ad? And I went, oh, the one about empowering women smoking cigarettes and killing themselves. He goes, yeah, you've come a long way, baby. And that just totally hit me like a ton of bricks. So hundreds of millions of women died of lung cancer because the whole feminist movement from the 20s and the 40s was funded by the cigarette makers to get women to smoke. And they continue that lie into the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, saying you've come a long way. You can smoke Virginia Slims. You too can die of lung cancer. So Stephen Colbert and all these programs demonize